wanna show you what I know. Break it free from the mainstream, the studio machine. I want it my way. Indie Film Nation. I want it my way. Indie Film Nation. Going all the way. Indie Film Nation. You know it's gotta be Indie Film Nation.
Sue Lawson here for Indie Film Nation. Today I'm at the NAB, National Association of Broadcasters Convention in Las Vegas, and I am standing next to one of my favorites, Michael Tronick, editor of everything from Ford Fairlane and Hudson Hawk to Hairspray and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. You know, Indie Film Nation is for independent filmmakers and feature filmmakers, and the ones who are doing the big budget stuff as well. As an editor, we were talking before, I was very interested in how you made the transition, because you actually started as a music editor and you made the transition to picture editor, correct?
Yes, I was working as a music editor and actually working on a film at Disney, and down the hall from me was an editor named John Wright, who was cutting an after-school special about a rock star. And John asked me if I would cut the musical sequences. And I said, sure, I'd give it a go. And they kind of gave me a basic lesson in film editing and cut the songs. And then I got another opportunity on Walter Hill's Streets of Fire to cut the songs for that as well, in addition to music editing. And then the big break came when Billy Weber, who was cutting Beverly Hills Cop 2 with Chris Lebenzon, asked me to be the third picture editor on that, and that's pretty much the path that I found myself going down, although it's something I'd never really actively pursued, because I really love music editing and still do.
Is there a different approach that you take to music editing as opposed to simply picture editing or story editing?
Well, I think the commonality is that musically you're trying to find music, if you're temping or even working with a composer, that supports the story, that enhances what's going on dramatically. And my job as a picture editor is basically the same as making the best of the material to tell the story. Picture editing is much more politically volatile because there's so much more at stake, and the creative process is a lot larger. And the responsibilities, you're really kind of the captain of the post-production ship, and music editing is just one facet of that. So the responsibilities are quite extensive.
What is your approach? How are you organizing things? What's your start? What's your mindset?
Well, the first thing I do is make sure my crew is available, because without them, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you. I was never an assistant picture editor, and I realize how extremely valuable good assistants are. So I get my crew in place. We get our rooms in place, someplace that's decent, because I try to create an environment that's comfortable. I don't want to be locked in a basement somewhere with no windows. And then I'll read the script a few times, try to meet with the director if he's not too frantic with pre-production and location scouts and things like that, especially if it's someone I haven't worked with before. And then it's basically from the first day of dailies, just starting to cut and put things together and begin that process of putting together the editor's cut.
And what is your process for working with the assistants? You're creating a warm, creative environment for them.
My assistants are...
They're not just coffee getters.
No. Although we're all coffee getters.
Just.
No. I have a very equal opportunity cutting room. My assistants, I make sure that they see everything that I cut. I value their opinions, and I give them the opportunities to edit as well, because that makes me a better editor when I see someone else's work and can kind of critique that. Basically, my assistants are bulletproof, and they make me laugh. So I think keeping a sense of humor when you're working in a $120 million movie is crucial to keep things in perspective, and they're great at that. But when it comes to the technical parts and the responsibilities of what we have to do in the cutting room, they're terrific.
Are you an extremely technical guy in addition to being creative?
Nope. When something comes up that's technically challenging, I just say, that's not my union. And I let one of my assistants take care of it. Although I have a kind of a general fundamental understanding of what goes on, but I am too busy with the job at hand as far as actual editing and dealing with the phone calls and dealing with the politics to really get down and start doing some fancy compositing and tear apart the CPU and put a new hard drive in. That's not me. I respect the guys that can do that, but I think you kind of work best within your limitations, and I'm not one of those guys who built a radio station in my closet when I was 6 years old. I just don't have that kind of brain.
What type of scenes are the most challenging for you then on the creative side?
They're all challenging. I mean, a 2-person dialogue scene can be as complicated and challenging as a 36-camera musical sequence. Sometimes the nuances of just a performance can be as difficult as an action sequence. So every scene, every type of scene has its own set of circumstances and challenges. For me, as a music editor, becoming a picture editor, the musical sequences are kind of dessert. I feel pretty comfortable and confident, although I never let myself get too I don't allow a lot of confidence, because as soon as I said, "Oh, that's good," then I'll do something else. And, "You stupid jerk, what'd you do that for?" So editing is very humbling, and especially with the advent of so much in visual effects, it becomes almost like an animation editor as far as previs and what's been introduced to the Avid that I'm working on.
Do you like the huge visual effects component of things? Visual effects can enhance a story, but it should not be the story. And there are many films, I can't think of any that you've done, but there are many films that I feel that the visual effects, that's all there is. It's all fluff and no substance. And when I'm sitting there watching a film, when I'm working on a film, I want it to have some type of substance, some creative story that is engaging the audience, not just, "Oh, that's cool. I love how they blew that up."
Yeah, right. No, that's a good question. And someone asked me yesterday about what it takes to cut a fight sequence. And I said, unless you care about the characters that are involved in the conflict, unless you have some kind of an emotional investment with what's going on, you can have the best visual effects in the world, and it's just going to play flat. So there's got to be some type of attachment that the audience has with the characters on screen. And that the visual effects should enhance that. I mean, I'm kind of old school. I started in the film days, and I could only work with the material that I was given and make that work as best as I could. So the days now when I did a little work on Iron Man, where you can actually go down the hall and talk to the previs guys and have them create shots for you, is a great tool. But I still try to work best with the material that was shot on the day and create the best possible scene. But obviously there's so many big visual effects scenes, and it's a little frustrating in terms of having to wait to get the shots into a point where they work well within the sequence. But that's why I have a visual effects editor now who's just a brilliant woman with After Effects and can create things pretty quickly that we can kind of put temp into to a scene without waiting for the visual effects houses to return shots to us.
What's next for you? I know that you just finished up the Jonas Brothers.
I'm taking some time off, although I think being at home sometimes is a lot more difficult than being in the cutting room. But I'm looking to start a picture this summer. It's bad luck for me to tell you what it is, because it's like talking about a no-hitter. You don't say that?
I won't
Okay.
ask that.
So, but my hope is to start a picture again in the summer, now that it seems like the SAG situation is being resolved, and hopefully the studios will start resuming production.
Is there a certain type of film that you haven't worked on yet that you'd like to work on, a certain genre that you'd like to try your hand at?
I've been really fortunate. It's I've had a great variety of movies. I mean, I think maybe something I don't know, without sounding arrogant, a little more grown up in the dramatic category, but anything that I can connect with emotionally, and I think that an audience can, I'm up for.
Terrific. Michael Tronick, fabulous editor. I really do love your work.
Okay, thank you.
Sue Lawson, Indie Film Nation, thank you very much.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thanks.